everyone, welcome to the She's a 10 times 5 show. I'm Lori, and my friends Lisa, Michelle, Randy, and Marcia are mixing it up and joining me to do what girlfriends do best, chat from the heart. Whether it's celebrity stories or serious topics, we're talking about it and coming in hot. Join us as we bring you the aha moments of learning, reflection, inspiration, and of course, a whole heck of a lot of fun. Let's go. This episode is brought to you by
Dr. Amir Karam, board-certified facial plastic surgeon and founder and creator of the Karam MD Skin Trifecta. It's a 3-step, all-in-one anti-aging routine that helps you defy aging in a very simple way. All right, folks, enjoy the podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to She's a 10 times 5. I'm Lori, and I have my co-host and pal Michelle here. Hi, Michelle.
Hello.
Yeah, we're rocking the pink squares today, and you know what? I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. We look hot.
We do. And we are jamming this month with a great theme of 80s and 80s icons. We've got 3 amazing women. And today I'm going to let you tear up because you know her better than most. We have the adorable and iconic Josie Bissett.
So adorable. Oh, I love Josie. Yeah. Actress, model, author, mom, of course. Josie's wonderful. And she was our inaugural issue cover of Ask Us Beauty magazine. And I fell in love with her. I was obsessed with her back during the Melrose days. And of course I told her that. But she's just such a good human. And I had a chance to get to know her. What I love is that she is open to kind of talking about everything. And one thing that we want to talk about today is she's recently been on this personal journey and attended what's called the Hoffman Process. Have you heard of it?
I have not, but I'm excited to learn more because I think these retreats and these, meditative experiences are the thing right now.
Yeah, me too. And I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by anybody that can go a week without their cell phone because my family thinks that mine is attached to my left hand.
It is, Michelle.
I know. I'm so ashamed.
Yeah, no, we all are. It's our, shameful thing. I am super hyped because I was I
was going to say something inappropriate.
Lori, get it together.
Get it together.
I was a super fan of Melrose, and who didn't want her haircut? So I'm so excited for this interview, and let's take it away. And first, we have Randy that's going to tee us off with her hard no, hard yes. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Randy Crawford, and I'm a life coach. And I have learned so much on this journey. My philosophy is very simple. When we know better, we do better. No judgment. One more thing, though. With me, there's usually a hard yes or a hard no. So today you're going to hear an amazing show with Josie Bissett. Everybody loves her. She's fun. She's flirty. She's adorable. But she's going to pivot and talk about spirituality. So I want to break that down for you guys and how I really think it can work for you and your family. Okay, I believe the simplest way to describe spirituality is to be present. And what do I mean by that? A lot of us live our life on autopilot, meaning we just go through life. And you know how when you go to carpool and you go to pick up your kids and you have no memory of how you just drove there? You got from point A to point B and you don't remember a single thing. That's autopilot. Let's take the life of your children. Let's say they're really good at academics or sports or something. We over-index on that. And then we go through life and days turns into weeks, turns into years. And we just keep going. We're on this autopilot mode. And we listen and we take in all these distractions. I'm talking about taking a pause and being present. So what is the best tool I have found to do that? It's meditation. Again, I don't want you to think about it in terms of its oohs and its ahs. Meditation can be as simple as taking 5 minutes to yourself. You can think about it with a cup of tea outside, deep breathing, or you can get guided meditation apps, which I highly recommend. They're amazing. They help you organize your thoughts, slow down and check in. So I'm coming in with a hard yes on spirituality and a hard no on living your life on autopilot.
Okay, everyone, now it's time for our show. Okay, welcome, Josie Bissett.
Hello, ladies. Good to see you both.
Good to see you too. And we know that from your Instagram, you just got your beautiful locks done, because we're gonna talk about those locks today, because they've become an iconic thing for the period of time in which we're talking about. So
that's Michelle, right, or lack of, I should say. Back in the day.
Yeah. So Michelle, we introed this, and you have a relationship with Josie. Why don't you tee up kind of where she got started and why she's so near and dear to our heart?
Oh my goodness. Well, I could start from the beginning. Josie was the cover, weren't you? You were the inaugural issue of Ask Us Beauty. And I was so enamored. I was so excited to interview her. And do you remember me showing you the picture of me with the pixie haircut? Because I thought I was Josie, aka Jane Mancini from Melrose Place. And it's just, you've had such an iconic career, and you've been a staple in our lives. I mean, when we go back to those early years when those shows were big, and what I guess my question to you, because I've had a chance to ask you some questions, but I want to know, what was that like? I mean, during that time being on a major show, I mean, that was such a hit show. You guys were everywhere. You were on the cover of every magazine. You were on the cover of Rolling Stone.
Oh my gosh, yes. That was the highlight of my career, was being on the cover of Rolling Stone. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, I was 21 years old. I had gotten married at 21 as well. Got married on this Friday in Seattle, and I had gotten Melrose Place. Obviously didn't know I was going to be getting it when I planned a wedding, and flew out, and I was in the first scene with Thomas Calabro, who played Michael, the first day of filming. And none of us, I mean, obviously have no idea. And in the show, the first season, we had our bumps. There's a couple different cast members that didn't continue on. And then we brought on Heather Locklear, and there was an episode that was sort of a little bit more of like a dramedy. So a little bit dark and like, oh God, that would never happen. But it caught on, and people loved that. And that's sort of where I think the show took off. So it was such a blessing, right? Because this business is, you don't know, it's a little bit of luck. It's a lot of timing. It's perseverance. So it was just a great group of people, and a show that worked back then in the 90s when there was no streaming. You had to get together. You got to get together, I should say. Like, people loved getting together. I miss that.
I know, it was such different times. And you, I mean, taking it back, you started your career at 12 years old, and then, you're right in front of the camera. So you've lived your life. You've lived your entire life in front of the camera.
I have. I did. I started out modeling, and initially I wanted to be a fashion designer, which I just find so ironic, because Jane Mancini on Melrose was a fashion designer. So I kind of got to live a little bit of that passion out in my role as Jane. That was a lot of fun, and it was good. I think that modeling was really helpful as far as being an actress, because a lot of times when actors have to be in front of the camera for photo shoots, and a lot of actors are not comfortable with that. And I was always glad that I had that training, because I know how to work the camera, just because that's what I started doing.
Yeah, and you look. I mean, we're sitting here. I'm staring at you, and I'm like, you swear to God, you have not aged. Like, you look just as good as you. I mean, Lori, am I right here? What's going on?
Yeah, we sort of want to hate you, Josie, but we can't, because you're adorable. I want to mention one thing you said, because I think our audience, it'll really resonate with them, is people getting together to watch a show. And in fact, one of our co-hosts was talking about, knowing that we were going to interview. And she's like, I remember I would go to a bar with my girlfriends, and I would do Jägermeister shots and watch Melrose Place. And I think that was such a beautiful time where we had these shows that really hit to the heart and brought us together as a community of watchers and gossipers. what is it like now that you don't have that? Like now everything is on demand and streaming and whatnot.
Yeah, well, everybody who's listening and watching this knows what that's like. We really gotten far away from gatherings socially. It's because everything is immediate at our fingertips, and we can binge shows and watch the whole season instead of having to be patient and wait and get together and experience it together as a group. And so, there's good and bad in everything, like the technology and all this. Look at us here. We're all from home now, and that's pretty cool. Like we have so much more power as well as creators, with social media. Before it was, to reach me, you'd have to reach my agent. And then maybe my agent was too busy that day and maybe didn't get the message. And now creators really can have so much power over their own career. It's pretty amazing. But it's also, as you guys both know, can feel like a full-time job. So because there's so much out there that you can grab, and so much creativity and so many opportunities. We only have so much time in a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting. So we interviewed as part of this month's theme of nostalgia and celebrating an iconic decade, which happens to be the 80s. And I know Melrose was in the 90s, but you're still part of that whole movement of women coming from the 80s. Is Kim Alexis, who was a supermodel back in the day, one of the first kind of, to coin that term. And it was interesting because we asked her, what was it like? When did you know you arrived? And did you get caught up in it? And her answer was emphatically no, because she would do a magazine shoot and the magazine cover wouldn't come out for 3 months. So it was just like work, 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 work. So as an actress, coming from the time where shows were community driven, and now you have instantaneous things that show up on Google or on Instagram, how has that changed things for you?
What do you mean exactly? Like comparing the two, or?
Well, everything was a little bit more, you can kind of had more control creatively. You had more control of your image. You didn't have all these different platforms or whatnot. And, Michelle brought up, aging and stuff. You're kind of doing everything now in front of all these different platforms. Is that a very different experience for you as someone who's still in the business after all of these years?
Yeah, it is. It is. Once again, it's a blessing and a curse, right? Like, yes, we are in the spotlight a lot more. A lot of it is our own doing, right? And of course, there's filters, there's this, there's that. We have, I feel like, more control over what we put out. Back when I was doing Melrose, it's good and bad. Like we didn't have social media, we didn't have cell phones, right? And I think that you're really present when you don't. Our minds are always going to be keeping us out of the present, but when we have our phones, oh my God, it's just like, you're always looking for opportunities to share something if you're a creator, right? And so, and even just the following, right? So since Melrose was not on social media during the 90s, if I was on a show like that right now, you gain all of those followers, right? And that all turns into business. It's lucrative. So there's that. That's a bummer too, but I wouldn't change it. Like it really made it for me. It just helped me really stay grounded and really just work. Like I never really realized like, oh my God, I made it, or oh, Melrose, this huge show. I knew it was like mostly when I would go to events. Like I remember we went to this Hard Rock Cafe event in Vegas, and it was like a madhouse. It was just paparazzi everywhere, and I forgot about it just till recently. I was looking through some old videos, and I was like, almost didn't feel like that was me. It's the strangest thing. Even when I watch some old Melrose footage, I don't remember being there. Do you guys ever have that? Like, yeah, I don't remember being. It's so strange, right? There's so much happening so fast.
I was curious, Josie, like, what about now? I don't think we've ever talked about this, but everybody knows who you are. If you're in our age demographic, everybody knows who you are. Do you still, whenever you go somewhere, do people comment? Like, is it a constant, you're out to dinner and they're like, oh my gosh, can I get your picture? Like, do you have people in your face all the time?
No, people don't really do that. I feel like people are so respectful.
Okay,
and
I would totally do that.
which I wish I would. I'm a creature of habit. So I go to the same places. I love knowing like the person I get my mail from, the person I go to dinner, like, now I'm out in the mountains too. So there's a few super cool restaurants that are my go-to places. And other than that, man, I was just raising kids,
Yeah.
Melrose and working and doing that. And so just busy, not really aware if people were doing that or not. If they came up to me, I'd absolutely happy to give them a photo, but I was never, oh yeah, they're looking at me or they're talking about me. I was just focused on my kids or whatever I had going on.
Yeah. Well, you weren't focused on that, but I guarantee they were. They were sitting at the table going, "Oh my gosh, that's Josie Bissett," because that's what I would be doing. I do have a question. Again, another one I've never asked you, but was there any crossover? Like, obviously, people were like dating each other. Melrose Place was huge, and 90210 was huge. Like, did anybody cross over and date like the Jason Priestley or Luke Perry or any of that go on?
No.
Did you guys see each other like on the sets, or was it just completely separate?
Completely separate. Yeah, you're right, because Melrose kind of spun off, right?
Yeah, right. It was a
spinoff, I suppose.
Mhm.
I forgot about that. But very different. Like, don't forget, we were a bit older too. So
yeah, you guys were yes, it was a different, but everybody watched both. I mean, when we talk about those memories, we were all in the college dorm room and both shows were equally as important.
Yeah.
And,
so much fun. I wish there was video. I wish there was some video.
I do too.
Watching it together in sororities or whatever. That would just be so neat.
We did not go out until we watched the show. So Lori, your friend was an early bird. I don't know. She was going out at the bar. We were watching it before the bar. We were.
Yeah. Thanks for aging me, Michelle.
Yeah, well, you are a little bit older. Just kidding. We talked about cell phones, which brings up this topic that we wanted to talk about today is, we're all addicted to our phones, and you just recently did something where you totally disconnected. And I want to hear about this, the Hoffman process. What is this for the listeners and for us, anyone watching? Tell us about it.
Yes. So it's called the Hoffman Process. It's at a place called the Hoffman Institute in Northern California, Santa Rosa area. And yeah, you disconnect. You don't have any technology at all. You are working basically on yourself. So it's a spiritual retreat in a sense, for 8 days, 7 days, from morning 7:30 in the morning to 9:30 at night, going, peeling off that onion, those layers of just like what keep us, what our fears are, what's holding us back from being the best person that we can be. What are our patterns? That's the biggest thing. What are the patterns that we have developed? And they all come from your childhood, that carry on in your life now that aren't serving you well, and really breaking those down and going through this. It's a very thought out process, very difficult to explain. If anyone's watching this or knows about it, has been to it, they know exactly what I'm talking about. It's intense, not scary, but it is intense, and you have to be ready. And people who go are ready, because that's what they're there for, to make some changes that they have not been able to make, right? And so kind of throughout it, you look at the patterns, you learn how to, I guess I should say, accept them, understand them, accept where they came from, parents, grandparents, whatnot, surrogates, forgive them, and then forgive yourself for things that you have done wrong. And we're so shameful. Like we're so hard on ourselves, as people, and especially as women, we didn't do this good enough, or this good enough, or fucked up my kids, or this or this. It's just like, God, you really learn to be self-compassion. That's one of the biggest things that I left with. And I had my post-process session with my coach, and I was kind of like, oh, I'm going back into my shit. Like, damn it. I do these things, and I think I'm going to change, and then I'm back to my old self or whatever, and I'm not, right. And he reminded me, just, God, don't be so hard on yourself. You look at all these great things you're doing. And so in the end, it just reminded me, just there's there's only so much time in the day, and there's so much I want to do and live and experience. And, I think I just get it in my own way. I think we all do. And then what's beautiful about it in the end, after you've peeled and cried and gone through all of this stuff, you really create a vision for your life. What do I want my life to look like? Because we can have it. Like, we can create anything we want. We really can. It's believing that, and it's loving ourselves. That's the most important thing. And that was it. I mean, it was phenomenal. And
wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And then after you have 2 days of silence alone, right? Self-reflection. I was like, oh man, am I going to want that glass of wine at night? Because, I'm in this habit where I'll have a glass of wine at night, and I really wanted to break that. Like, why do I need to have a glass of wine every night? And, I do sometimes and I don't sometimes now, right? It's like nothing has to be 100% one way or another. So yeah, it was pretty phenomenal. And it's a group process too. And that's one thing that I have never done before. People don't realize, I know if as an actor, I am in front of all these people acting, like the crew, like 100 people watching or whatever, but I'm a character and I have these lines that I've memorized, and there's a person I'm talking to, and I'm focused on that. And I focus on nothing else but making sure I know my lines. What is my character going through? Which is so different than standing up in front of people and talking and being yourself. And that just makes me sweat. Like, I'm not comfortable doing that at all. And there was some of that, quite a bit of that actually. So that was good for me to break through some of that. And it was group becomes everything. That's the most, because you are exposing yourself so much and so vulnerable. So the group, even to this day, like, there's about 40, and we're on WhatsApp, and everyone supports each other throughout the day, every day. It's amazing. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a really great message to women, because I think, one, just from all the women we talk to through the podcast and the relationships we make, and, Michelle makes through her magazine, is I think this retreat and this inner reflection process is become a real big thing and more accepted. I think we used to have a lot of preconceived notions about retreats, and like, is it like Burning Man, or am I microdosing? What am I doing on these things? But they're becoming more and more accepted. And what's really great, you said something that is so powerful that I have talked over and over with other women, is letting go of shame. I think that is a huge anchor to a lot of us, because we are human. We make mistakes. I think we are the fix-it sex, right? Whether it's with our kids or our partner. And through that process, I think when we do screw up or, shit the bed on certain occasions, we feel ashamed and hold that responsibility. And I think when you do these types of things, letting that go is so empowering.
It is, really being kinder to ourselves, and thinking about, sometimes I'll think like, the whole phrase inner child. Like, if you really break that down, when you really think about sometimes how we treat ourselves and talk to ourselves, like, can you imagine talking to, like, when you were a little girl, like treating yourself that way, or even your own daughter, right? Never. Like, we just, we really are just so hard on ourselves. And it's, silly. Like, we're just here for like a little bit of time, right? And life is short, and why not celebrate, ourselves and our mistakes, and share them. Like, you're right. I feel like one thing I also learned is when you share something that you never shared before, or you feel ashamed about, it kind of goes away. And then people go, oh my God, I did that. That happened to me too. And I hate it when I do that, or I can't quit that. And then you feel like, fuck, I'm not alone, right? I'm not the only one. But if you hold it in and you pretend like you got all your shit together, which none of us do, then you walk around feeling like you have to be fake, almost fake who you should be, instead of just letting it just be real, right?
Yeah.
And if we could, especially women, just be real.
Yes.
It would be amazing. Yeah. Support each other.
I love everything you said about that. And I think it sounds like such an amazing process. Again, the vulnerability, but also what you walked away with. Those, like you said, those relationships. I mean, we all are so hungry for community. And I think, it sounds amazing. Let's go, ladies.
Yeah, you're right about that. Just as far as community, and that's going back to Melrose, there was more community, right? Because we couldn't call someone at the drop of a hat. We'd have to get together. And I love that about the magazine, Michelle. You're building a sense of community with women, supporting women, and sharing the women in the different towns. I love that segment that you do. And
Small Town Big Heart. We always take a plug in Sense Beauty magazine.
Yeah. I love it. It's so special.
I want to ask you this, and Michelle, you're not there yet, but learn from us, young Jedi.
Okay.
Josie, you have adult kids, and we talked offline about having these new college age kids. And one of the things that I think I have found is when I am able to accept my flaws, because all of a sudden your kids get to that age where they start to pick up on like, wow, mom's been drinking a lot lately, or wow, mom's losing her temper a lot more lately. And they start to kind of adult you. And I think it's a really powerful thing when you start to accept your flaws and you're able to own your shit. And especially with your kids, I think it creates much healthier relationships with your adult children. Would you agree with that?
I would agree so much, and I'm working on it still. Like it's, that reality is now it's the three of us. That's the reality. And I'm going to need your help, guys, because mom can't do everything by herself. That's, I think, where women try to do everything by themselves, and really important to learn to set boundaries. And that if I could change one thing, I would change that, of really getting my kids to understand like that we're a team together. It's not one person doesn't do it all. And that's even in an intact family, that if the man's not like doing the dishes or cooking, I'm not, like there has to be teamwork. And I feel like the more, going back to what you said, we're their role models, our children. They are going to learn from us. And so if I don't have boundaries and I don't take care of myself, self-care, they're not going to do that. Right.
So, or they're going to marry someone that doesn't respect that need. Right.
That's right. Exactly. One of the things I worked on a lot at the Hoffman Process was being able to handle conflict. So I am a Libra, so I want things in balance. If there's like something wrong, I can tell I'm very sensitive to energy. So if someone might be mad at me, I might know how that doesn't feel good. They're mad at me. I wonder why. And I mean, it's not like, I don't get too worked up about it. I know it's their stuff. But instead of just saying, hey, Michelle, it could just be me, but I sense like maybe you're pissed at me for something. Are you, or is it just me? And you could be like, yeah, when you said this, whatever, like, how cool would it be if we could just like all say and talk about stuff? And I'm working on that just in my marriage now. And even with my kids, like, instead of, fuck, they took out the wash and it was wet and they put it on top. Now it's moldy. Fuck, right? And just getting mad and then letting that build up, right? Build, and then blah. And then it's like, oh, mom's a freak. But it's like, because I didn't hold it, because I held it in.
Yeah.
We call that raging in our family. Like, they'll be like, mom's raging.
Mom's raging.
Oh God, I don't want that, Michelle.
It's not me. It's my sister. Sorry.
Okay. So, Josie, I've been on this, I've called it my honesty crusade. And it's been about 2.5 years because COVID I felt like a caged tiger. And everyone was noticing, okay, she's mom's losing it, or, God, she's unhinged again. And so what I started to do, I said, I need to be more honest in my relationships. If something is bothering me, and if it's someone I care about, I'm going to confront my feelings and not apologize for my feelings, but I'm going to be honest about them because I want to build on a healthy relationship, because I kept seeing that when I wasn't doing that, my behaviors would become passive aggressive. If I wasn't telling my oldest boy, Connor, the fact that you leave a pile of laundry at the bottom of the stairs every morning is really bothering me, I started to become, there was that tension. And so I think that's kind of what you're saying, right? Is that in conflict is really being honest about how you feel about a situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. and being okay with that person maybe not agreeing with you or getting defensive, right? So like in my marriage, for example, if we have a conflict and I know, okay, well, he's getting on a plane tomorrow, I'm not going to see him for a couple of weeks. I don't want to deal with this, right? If I keep doing that over and over and over, it's not good. Yeah. Even if it's small, it just starts to build up and then it turns into something just not healthy, right? So that's exactly what I'm working on, is what you just said, is just being able to just say, hey, this is how I feel. And then it's learning to not react to their response if they get defensive or passive aggressive, staying true to like what it is that you wanted to say and feel. And sometimes it just takes, like, if that's something I'm working on, before I go have the conversation, I have to remind myself, all right, it's possible. Like, he might roll his eyes at me, or she might, whatever, say something back, and just be prepared and just stay loving, stay in a loving space of listening and then repeating back, what I needed to say.
Yeah. And Michelle, I don't know how you feel about this. You interview women, our podcast interviews women. Don't you think it's past time where we stop friggin' apologizing for the way we feel?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we have to be honest, and communication is the number one thing that, that people break down in relationships. So if we feel it, say it. And it's an easy concept. It sounds super simple, but we don't do it enough.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get it out. We've all done it where we've held those feelings in. So I completely relate to what you're saying, Josie, and I applaud you for just being open and transparent about it, because you can help so many other people that are listening to say, you know what, I understand. I relate to that as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, Josie, let's talk about what is next. So projects, vision.
Yes. So I've got lots of them, but my main one right now is, I said to myself, after my kids are in college, so after Melrose, Mason was born on the last season of Melrose. Then I wrote my couple children's books. And then I did 5 years on a show. It was called The Secret Life of the American Teenager. That was on ABC Family. And it was an amazing gig because I lived in Seattle at that time, and because I wanted to raise them here. And they hired me as a season regular, but if I chose that, I would have to live there, and that I wanted to raise my kids in Seattle. So I said, like, can I be a recurring character? I got paid less, but I got to control my schedule. And so they would fly me in every other week. And this was when Rob did live here, their dad. And when they were with him, I would fly and I would get in a hotel, go into a hotel, which was my favorite place to be. I love hotels, and work. And it was just awesome. And then I'd get home and I could 100% be their mom and not worry that, oh my God, what job's next? Because I had one. So I did that for 5 years. And then now they're, teenagers and stuff at this point, and really, like, I needed to be there. And so finding something like that I was lucky. And so then I did some more books. And I had always said, when they're in college, I'm going to get back on a series regular on a show. And I'd love to do something with an ensemble cast. And so, yeah, I'm ready to put myself out there again, and to work, to really, really work. And then I've got my children's book, and I'm writing another children's book series right now, which I absolutely love doing.
Well, let's give the book some plugs, right?
Yeah, I actually have it with me because I am going to do a little post on it today, but this is it right here. It's called Tickle Monster Laughter Kit. And I wrote this, Mason was 2 and I was tickling him. And initially the character was the mom, and she pulls off this mask, and because she, so I ran in my room and I was like, oh my God, this is the best idea because it's interactive. He loved it. And it took, because I had so much going on, it took like probably 5 years before it eventually came out. But where are the little mitts? Hang on. It has these furry little mitts. So cute. Look. What's cool about it is it's a whole gift set.
Oh, that's rad.
Right. And so the parent or grandparent, teacher, whoever's doing it, puts these on. and tickles them. They just absolutely love it. And you end up running around the house. You end up, a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's like, bedtime, and it's their favorite book, and it gets them amped up, but it gets all their energy out, right? Here's the book.
That's great.
And I just realized what happened when I was reading to Mason every night. I was thinking about, literally, like, in my mind, what was my to-do list, what I had to do when he put him to bed, when he went to sleep, what to do the next day. I was like, holy shit, I don't even know what I just read to him, right? And of course it was like, is your mama a llama? My mama
yes, she is.
And I just love the idea of reading and having the parent have to be present, right? Because if you're doing an action with your child, you have to be present, and kids feel it and they love it. So that is that. And that is one of my I'm just so proud of it. Like, people don't even know I wrote it, right? In fact, at the Hoffman Process, this was another amazing thing about it. You can't talk about what you do for a living. So the whole time you're there, you don't know what anybody does. And it was fascinating. You don't, like, they could be a doctor, they could be a photographer, they could be a stay-at-home mom, you had no clue. And you won't realize how all of those judgments go away. So you're just looking at that person and their spirit and their soul and who they are. It was fantastic. And at the end, the last day, you go up and you say what you do for a living. And so of course I'm like, I'm an actress. Or a few people were like, I knew it, you were recognizable or whatever. And but then I said I wrote a children's book, Tickle Monster, and like a couple people were like, no way, I buy that every year. I've bought like 20 of them. Didn't know you wrote that. And that makes me just so happy. It's just because it's something that I thought about and that I made happen, right? It's not like I got hired to do it. It's not how I look. It was something that came from my heart and created it. So I love that. I want to do more of that kind of stuff.
Well, kudos to both of you, because you're both authors. And I think that's on my bucket list. I've been asked. Michelle knows, I talk to her about it all the time. But you're leaving a legacy for your kids too. It's more than just impacting. I mean, like, this is something that they're going to, read at one point, right, Michelle? And in your case, Josie, they'll probably use it with their kids. And how awesome is that?
Very, very cool. Yeah.
Yes. And Josie knows this story. When I wrote my book, my daughter was 8 at the time, and she was with me the entire process. And when I got done, she said, Mom, can I write a book? And I said, absolutely. So we spent the next 3 months, and she put out her first children's book. And sweet Josie bought it and did like a little video with it in the back. And so thoughtful, but it was being an example, and it is leaving that legacy. So.
And how cool is it that she was, I want to write one, and you helped her do that. Like, that's what I mean. Like, we can create and do anything.
Yes, we can, ladies.
Yeah. Okay. You ready to have a little fun?
Yes.
Okay. Before we do that, let's tell everyone where to find you and Tickle Monster and wherever else they can get a little piece of Josie Bissett.
Yes. So right now I am definitely working on my social media. I'm trying to get that. Like I said, it's a full-time job. So I'm trying to find some help, figure that out. So I'm focusing on Instagram. For a while, I was like, should I do Twitter? I don't know. I was trying to do them all.
Yeah.
But Instagram. So that's just at Josie Bissett. Everything, all of my social media is just my name. Okay. And then Tickle Monster also has a new Instagram page, but everybody buys it at Amazon. It's kind of the place to go. If you have smaller chain bookstores or in your town, which, God, I miss bookstores so much. It is in a lot of bookstores, like for like specialty gift stores, but Amazon is, they always have it. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. And it's Bissett with 2 T's in case.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to play a couple calls. We have a thing called Studio 50 hotline. Yeah. Where all the old ladies can call in and ask questions. So you got 2 that we picked out. And one is a question. I'm gonna tee it up here. So here we go.
Hi, my name is Annie, and I'm calling from Boca Raton, Florida. This is for Josie Bissett, and I'm a huge Melrose Place fan. I wanted to know if she's still friends with the co-stars and which one is her favorite. Thank you.
Okay. Great question.
It's a good question. And it is a super common question. People are always curious. First, were we really friends? Did we fight on set? Are we still friends now? And who? We had a reunion, maybe, I guess it was before COVID. So 3-4 years ago. Got to see pretty much everybody. Heather wasn't there. I am I'm closest with Jack Wagner. Because we do a series of movies together on Hallmark called The Wedding March. We've done 6 together. And I talk mostly a little bit on social media. Laura Layton, who played Sydney, my sister, and Daphne. I absolutely adore everybody. Everybody's incredible. And we don't stay in touch. We don't really get together. If I was to go to LA, yes, I would call and get together with them. But I would say Jack, as far as who's my favorite, just because we just love working together and have so much fun together. And it's been super fun getting to know him, because when I was on Melrose Place, I think only out of 7 years had maybe 2 or 3 scenes with him. Our characters never crossed paths.
Yeah. He's still hot.
He's so cool. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Okay, this next one is absolutely amazing. And I hope someday, Michelle, you and I get a call in like this. But it speaks volumes to who you are, Josie. So this is a blast from your past.
Hi there, this is Tracy. I live in Solana Beach, and this message is for your upcoming show with Josie. Josie, I don't know if you remember me, but my name is Tracy, and I went to Mercer Island High School, and I met you when your high school boyfriend, transferred to Mercer Island to play basketball. Even back then, in the fashion tragedy era of the late 1980s, you always looked so glamorous and stylish, and we were all in awe of you. I remember one time you spent the night at my house, and I think we went to a party or whatever. Anyway, in the morning, you were like, before I'd even gotten out of bed, you were up and dressed and had made your bed. And my point being is that even back in high school, you had drive and ambition that wasn't your normal sort of teenage behavior. So I wasn't surprised at all when you kind of conquered the acting and modeling world and became, a success. So anyway, it's been fun watching your career, and just hope you're doing well and wish you all the best. All right. Take care. Bye.
Oh my gosh.
How awesome is that?
That is so nice.
Gosh.
I mean, it's just so funny when you hear something like that, because back then, I came from a small little town, and this girl, I know exactly who she is. Thank you. If she ever sees this, Mercer Island is a beautiful, wealthier area, right? And this boyfriend that she's referring to, I dated from when I was 12 years old. Also 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, all the way till I moved to LA. We were together for a year into my time in LA, and then we just naturally broke up. But it was devastating when he moved out of our small town and our high school to this other. And I was so, I was just a kid, and oh my God, these pretty girls, and they seemed so much better and had more money and blah, blah, blah. So it's so interesting to hear her say that. My mom did always teach me, make sure you make your bed when you're at someone's house.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, oh gosh, that's so sweet. That's so kind.
Yes, yes. So Tracy from Solana Beach. That's right near where I live. So I might have to hunt her down, because she seems like a lovely, lovely woman. Yeah. Okay. We always like to end on a little bit of unexpectedness, which I know you don't particularly like, but there's one question I'm going to ask you. And I asked Michelle this one.
No.
I just want to see your reaction. This is a very, very profound, thought-provoking question. And since you've been through the Hoffman process, you're going to hit the cover off this right over the fence. This is the question. Is it fair or reasonable for a cemetery to raise their rates based on the cost of living? You get it?
Interesting.
Do you get it? Okay, wait, this is what we need, right?
She's so weird. Isn't she so weird, Josie?
I have to tell you
this?
what, but I don't know, inflation, or is it a joke?
It's a joke. I just
I'm
like
so-
to
yeah,
ask
I'm
them
so literal.
because no one can answer it. They're like, wait, what? So
It was so far over. I didn't even know what she was talking about. I'm like, I don't know what this means, but
yeah. Yeah. I know. I kind of was cruising into my community and there's a guy that he's, one of the security people. And I always like to mess with him. And I asked him and he just looked at me like I had food on my face. So there you go.
Weirdo.
I know. I'm savage. Thank you
are.
so much for being with us today, Josie.
You. It's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes.
Oh, and one thing too. One of our sponsors for your episode is Luxury Pickleball.
Yes.
Did you get your racket?
I did. I'm so excited. And I know you play pickleball. And
Yes.
I had a pickleball court growing up in my yard that my dad built himself. And I have been wanting to get back into it because it's kind of becoming a big thing.
Mhm.
And so I am stoked on this.
Are you seeking luxurious pickleball products, services, and amenities that fit your discerning taste? Elevate your game on and off the court with Luxury Pickleball as your source for curated luxury vacations, high-quality designer apparel, bags, products, and coaching with top 10 pros. Luxury Pickleball offers exhilarating high-end vacation experiences in beautiful destinations with exquisite amenities and activities. Aside from our custom-designed pickleball paddles, we also carry brands like Prada, Yola, Phoenix Portier, Smartwool, Hedge, and many more. Our world-class pros can provide individual or group training at your chosen location. Imagine having a top 10 pro join you and your friends at your next luxury vacation. Luxury Pickleball, quality on and off the court. Let's go.
So I have it here and I am going to, oh my God, I thought it wasn't in here. You know why? Because it's so light.
It is
It's
light.
so light.
I don't even know if I've ever seen one of those.
That you did not get, but I got. Anyway,
Yes.
Ooh.
it's gorgeous.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like, it is so light.
It is light. It's honeycomb. That's why it's specially designed to help prevent tennis elbow, which, I've actually suffered through a little bit.
Game on, sister.
Okay, we're going. It's on. Michelle, we got to get you pickling.
All right, I'll start pickling.
We'll pickle and then Josie can tickle.
Perfect.
Right? Yes.
And we're out.
And we're out. All right. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, everybody. Adios.
This week, we're going to go buy someone a coffee. It's that simple. That simple act of buying someone a drink to make their day, give them a bit of a caffeine burst, will be awesome.
Follow us on Instagram at She's a 10 times 5. You can click on the link in our bio to listen to all of our previous episodes, as well as check out our live video interviews over our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, pretty much wherever else you decide to listen to your favorite podcast. Don't forget to hit subscribe.